Hey gang! So today we're gonna look at my Grandmaster ranked best Zealot build. Thought I'd make a little guide. I hope you enjoy. So the first thing we're gonna look at is my talents. The first one you're gonna want is this big round one at the top. Basically, what you're looking for in the descriptions of the talents is anything that says crit or damage or like speed. We're going to avoid the word dodge. I'll show you why later. So you want disdain and you want anoint in blood for the range damage. Enemies within, enemies without, so this gives you toughness. As much as we want speed and damage, you do need a way to regen toughness, otherwise you're just gonna decease all the time. And then we have purge the unclean. 20% increased damage against infested and unyielding enemies. Explains itself. That's pretty decent. And then you want to go take this one, 10% melee damage boost. Now the grenades, you can pick whichever you sort of want. I don't like the knives. They don't feel like they do as much damage. This is a firebomb. It's pretty good. We love arson, so we love that one. This one is a stun. It stuns things, it doesn't actually do damage, so I would recommend avoiding that one. And then you want to take Until Death. Again, keyword, damage. Fatal damage instead grants you invulnerability for 5 seconds, occurs every 120 seconds. Sounds pretty good. And then you want all 3 of these. So you want Sustained Assault, plus 4% melee damage. Holy Revenant, until death, you regain health based on damage you dealt during Until Death. Thy wrath be swift. Enemy melee attacks cannot stun you. On taking damage, gain 50% movement speed for 2 seconds. See? Yeah, you've got damage and movement speed. That one's pretty good. And then this one, 15% damage versus enemies not targeting you. So you want to stay behind your team, wait for everything to attack everyone else, and then attack things. It's difficult, but you can do it sometimes. So down from Holy Revenant, you have Against the Odds. So for every 2 enemies within 5 meters, gain 2% damage. And 10% Cleave. Cleave is great. Cleave is amazing. Cleave means the amount of AoE you do per swing of your melee. And then down from that, we have Providence. Again, speed. 25% revive speed. Allies you assist revive 10% movement speed and 15% damage reduction for 5 seconds. And then you want to get Abolish Blasphemers, 15% damage against elites. And then before we go to that, we'll go over here. So down from Sustained Assault, you have Desperation, 20% melee damage based on missing stamina. So you want to be sprinting all the time. So if you have your sprint not as a toggle, you need to change that into a toggle, because you want to just toggle it on at the start of the map and just not turn it off. And then you want Faithful Frenzy, 10% melee attack speed. It speaks for itself. So on the auras, heal 1.5 corruption from the current wound for you and your allies in coherency every 1%. So basically, when you die, which you won't ever, to be fair, so it's kind of useless, you get a purple wound bar that you can't heal unless you go to a Medicae. Everyone steals the Medicaes, so you're probably not going to get them healed. This is pretty good for that reason, and it helped your allies, who will be dying a lot, okay, because they don't have this peak build. And then you want to take the toughness boost. You have no choice here. You have to take it. All of these abilities are useless, so don't even look at them, don't even read them. I don't think I even read them. I don't know what they do, and I'm not going to tell you what they do. You want to pick this one. I'll give you a second to work out why. You're correct. Speed. Dash forward, replenishing 50% of toughness and gaining 20% attack speed for 10 seconds. Your next melee hit gains 25% damage and has 100% rending and is a guaranteed critical hit. See, there you've got speed, you've got damage, you've got crit. It's all you've ever wanted. Amazing, okay? And then you want to get the ×2. You want to get redoubled zeal, because now you can do it twice. I wouldn't bother with this. Killing an elite or specialist within 5 seconds of using Fury of the Faithful restores 20% ability cooldown. It's fine, but if you have the doubled zeal, you're gonna regen it so fast anyway. You'll always have one, so you don't need this. And then you want to get the 10% melee damage, you want to get the 10% toughness damage reduction, and you want to get the 5% movement speed. And then if you carry on to the right, you want to get Hubris, 15% damage resistance after weak spot skill, lasts 4 seconds. That's just nice to have. You don't have to take it, but it's nice to have. I'll show you some other options at the bottom of this as well. So then you have Invocation of Death, 100% ability cooldown regeneration on 3 seconds from melee crit hits. So I think this is a lot better than this, because this is any melee crit hit, whereas this is just killing an elite or a specialist. There aren't that many elites and specialists sometimes, so this is a lot better. And then you want to take Scourge. Melee crit hits apply bleed, causing damage over time. Melee hits on bleeding enemies grant 10% crit chance for 3 seconds. Stacks 3 times. Blinded by blood. Bleeding enemies increase their damage taken by 15% for 5 seconds. This is just us doing more damage, again. And then you want to take Blazing Piety. This is my preferred purple circle on this map. So you get 15% crit chance for 8 seconds when in Fury. Fury is triggered when 25 enemies have died within 25 meters. Crit hit also counts up towards triggering Fury. So this is beautiful because when it triggers Fury, you're getting that speed and the damage. This is glorious. And then you want to take, obviously, Righteous Warrior, 10% crit chance from Blazing Piety. You don't have to take this, but some people will recommend it. This is Stalwart. Triggering Fury replenishes 50% toughness. In addition, while Fury is active, you have 25% toughness damage reduction and replenish 2% toughness each second. This just makes you a little bit more tanky, which is, like, it's a good idea, to be fair. The other option that I would potentially recommend is going down here and taking Martyrdom. In this center area, you want to take this one, Bleed for the Emperor. Damage that would take your health the next wound is reduced by 40%. This just means you are more of a sturdy boy, you know? You're doing your best, and they can't take you down. You can pick these, okay? I normally take Faith's Fortitude if I go down this route, but Restoring Faith is also pretty good. But wounds are also amazing, because when you die and you get that corruption, that means you can't heal that wound. The more wounds you have, the more corruption you can take. So if you only have 2 wounds, so your health bar is split in 2, you can essentially die once and have 1 corrupted health bar, and then you only have a small bit of health left, because the other half of bar is corrupted. Whereas if you have like 7 wounds, you can die 7 times. You're basically immortal. And then if we pick Martyrdom instead of Blazing Piety, Martyrdom is 10% melee damage for each missing wound. So you want to be low health. You want to have a lot of wounds and be missing some of them. Up to a maximum of 5 missing wounds. So if you have 7 wounds, that's your maximum 50% melee damage from Martyrdom. And you still have 2 wounds left. I'd say that's pretty decent. And then on these, you know which one I'm gonna take. Attack speed. Anything that makes you faster is the right choice. The next thing to look at, the order in which to get them is generally bleed stacks, crit chance on chained hit, crit chance on melee, crit hits ignore hit mass bonus from armor, and the movement speed. Those are your main ones. Once you level 30, you'll have all of them anyway. Loadout. So what you want to have is a big sword that you like. I don't really know if it matters what weapon you take. So I would take a heavy eviscerator. This is your main weapon. And then I take the infantry lasgun. This is for sniping. So basically, what you want to do is be fast, hit everything, but then if there's something at a long distance shooting you, you just want to quickly 360 no-scope to get them. You'll get it every time. It's a little bit of a skill jump. And then you've got your curios. First up, looking at my sword. What you want to do is go to Hadron. And I didn't know this until I was like level 27. You want to go to this boy over here, okay? And you want to entreat Hadron. Milady, please may I make my sword really nice. And you want to consecrate it, empower it as much as you can. And you want to do that for your sword, gun, and your curios. And then you want to refine it. So this is adding perks. And obviously what you want to do is increase your stamina and increase your sprint efficiency. So then you can just run. And then you want to bless it. Okay, you want to add your blessings. So I would recommend Savage Sweep and Perfect Strike. So with Savage Tweak, every time you hit 3 enemies with an attack, you increase your cleave by 200%. And then I take Perfect Strike. Crit hits ignore hit mass bonus from armor, 10% melee, crit hit damage. If you wanted to pick something different, you can also have Rev It Up. You get 17% movement speed on special weapon activation. This is when you rev up your chainsword, for example. This one's pretty good. Shred, 2.5% bonus crit chance on chained hit, stacks 5 times. Really nice. We love crit. This one, 40% crit chance on your next melee attack after a special attack kill. Pretty good, but you do have to remember to rev your chainsword. You have to remember that. We're ignoring that. Bleed stack special attacks, you have to rev your chainsword. You have to remember. This one's pretty good. That's what we had, okay? Momentum, that restores toughness. We don't care about this. That was in talents. 25% cleave on hit, stacks 5 times. Pretty decent. And then you have Rampage. Hitting at least 3 enemies with an attack increases your damage. 24% for 3.5 seconds. I'm looking at the wrong thing. 36% for 3.5 seconds. So I would recommend this one or that one. You gotta pick one. It's a tough choice, but it's okay. You can do it. I believe in you. And then we want to go to the gun. Consecrate it, empower it, and refine it. We want that sprint efficiency. And then you want 10% range crit hit damage. And then for the blessings, I take Ghost, because then if you snipe someone, but there's another sniper, you're immune, you know? Or if there's a load of gunners, but also a sniper, and you've just killed the sniper, because we're headshotting every single time, which is a weak spot, okay? You're immune. That's really good. And then obviously you want deadly accurate, 100% critical weak spot damage. Speaks for itself. We're getting those headshots. We want it to kill them first try, you know? This isn't Spaceman 2. We want our snipers to actually kill people with headshots. So we take this. I'm not going to read out the other ones because you don't need to know what they do. And to be honest, I don't know what they do. This is the first time I've read half of these. And then for your curios, you want to consecrate, max level, and then you want to refine. So when you're picking a curio, they have a little blessing, and then they have the 3 perks. As far as I know, you can't change the blessing. So you just gotta pick one with a blessing that you like the sound of, okay? This is where my talent tree comes in. Because if you have not taken martyrdom, you don't have those 2 extra wounds. You don't have the extra health. So I take curios that give me 19% max health, 1 wound, and 1 wound. So now I have 5 wounds. It's not 7, but it's 5. Okay, that's still pretty good. And then for the perks, we want to get 20% damage resistance to snipers. We want to get 12% stamina regeneration. And you want to get 15% sprint efficiency. It's all about speed and snipers. Because you are also a sniper. And you have to be the best sniper in the game, which means killing all the other snipers. And then for the second curio, you kind of want to switch it up a bit. And you want to get the sprint efficiency, 15%. You want to get the stamina regeneration at 12%. And you want to get 20% damage resistance to snipers. And then, for the third curio, you want to get the 12% stamina regeneration. And then, you can take damage resistance to snipers again. But you can also take damage resistance to gunners, who surprisingly also have guns, so they can shoot you. So, damage resistance to them, and then you want the 15% sprint efficiency. So as the last thing you want to do is go through your input settings. So you want to change crouch to toggle, you want to change sprint to toggle. Mouse sensitivity. I get told off for this, so I turned it down. But I have a button on my mouse that turns up the mouse sensitivity without me needing to do it in the game. So if I was to put my mouse on like default sensitivity, my sensitivity is around here, just for context, okay? Sensitivity ranged, you also want to turn this up, maybe a little less than this. And then, I don't really know what this is, so we just sort of put it there. And you don't want to have this inverted, because that's horrendously disgusting. The other thing you need to do is go into your key bindings. If you're on controller, I don't know if you can... Oh, you can change it. Okay, well, you can work that out. So you want to keep most of these the same. Okay? You want to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And basically, what you want to do is map everything that you don't need to use to a letter you will never use. So you want to unbind backwards, and you want to unbind dodge. You don't need to dodge. You're too fast. You just need jump, you need crouch for your sliding tackles, and you need your sprint. You don't need these two. That is all. So basically, when you're running around your missions, you're just gonna be ka-chowing on all of your teammates. And you do have to be careful, because you are now faster by like at least 50% to them. So you're just gonna be speeding through, doing your little neumes, killing everything on the way, remembering to spam F for Fury, and you'll be Gucci. You'll have such a great time. This is the best Zealot build, and no one will tell you any different, and everyone will love you for it.